Tannenbaum. Oh, everybody, I hope you're feeling well. So, okay. Okay, guys and gals. Welcome to the show. It is 6:58, 6:59, and counting. It's the 10th of December. 10th of December. I just wanted to slow down, please. But it's going by all right. I've been staying up late too. Probably a little bit too late. But you got the Christmas tree in the living room, and I just fight and fight and fight until my eyes go crossed and then I start feeling nauseous. And once I start feeling nauseous, that's when I know it's time to go to bed, where I'm not sure if I'm tired or getting just sick. That's when I know. That's when I know, ladies and gents. I was, that's what we have for you all tonight. But I have only just you and I, because last night we were going to be actually taking calls on a number of topics, but it was a little bit poor planning on my end, because I was thinking about, I wasn't thinking about Robin McCutcheon and how usually we go for at least an hour. We can go for, those conversations can go for an hour or more. And that was just perfect. It filled up the whole night. If you haven't listened to it, definitely go ahead. There's a reason why so many people love her, and made you think. I got a lot of really great feedback from that as well. Something else here too. I did a little light tempering of the moon behind me. Finally, there's some good contrast. Got some nice neutral density film over there, and cut down on the glare on the walls and all the other stuff that I'm really looking at. And my World Trade Center towers 1 and 2 are in. Now, as far as them, they have the perfect footprint in that corner over there. So it's either I keep them there and I move the Chrysler building, or I keep them both, just chill out and see what the hell I'm thinking. But if I move the Chrysler building, it's going to go into this corner over here and it barely gets seen. So I don't know. This is exactly, it's a good problem to have though, because I love these things and I've been really having a good time decorating in here. So yeah, that moon, that's what I was hoping, because it was very hard to see the contour of the moon, and it's staying forever and ever and always. So there you have it. Maybe that yellow, the yellow lava lamp goes somewhere else. We need some yellow over here in this corner. Cut down on one, just move the salt over, and that'll be that. But that's all the fun stuff. It's all New Year's considerations, and it's the show that never ends. So anyway, I see Nikki says, stop adding goddamn lights for fuck's sake. I'm going to add 5 more buildings now. What do you want me to say? I mean, they are dim as hell. You want to see these lights bright? And I just put gigantic slab of black film over the moon. I mean, I don't know. Can't please everybody, I guess. But on we go. So let's see here. Okay, first things first, because we still have a lot of time in December for you to enjoy the Quite Frankly Bulletin, I want to put it out there for you. And I'm going to put it in the chat rooms right now. I'm copying the link into the chat rooms. Boom. There you go. There's your link there. Hope everybody goes reads that on your own time. Have a good time with there. Beautiful, beautiful. And nice. That's all. That's the one thing I just wanted to say up front. It's really the only announcement I have, is that we still have 15 days until Christmas, and the newsletter is out there for everybody, and I hope that you enjoy it, because it's really well done, and I'm looking forward to January now as well. So go ahead and do that. And if you're listening to this on the other end and you can't find the link, email me. I'll send it to you. Readership, obviously, viewership and the readership is up big time this month because it's public, and we're thinking about keeping that going for a while because it's it's worth it. It's worth it, really is. All right, from the Wall Street Journal, what do we have here? On the Wall Street Journal, a little bit from Syria. And let me tell you something, everybody. You think your life is bad? Go watch some of the public execution videos that are floating around. What's going on out there in Syria right now? It's absolutely horrific. People just getting gunned down in their hospital beds. After ousting Assad, Syrian rebels rushed to impose order in Damascus. If you call this order, then I don't know. I guess it's the kind of order that we're used to at this point. And what a rush job. It's incredible. Incredibly well timed. There is that. Another thing that is not really big news, but is something I would still like to throw out there to everybody. Did you hear that Allison Camerota has signed off for the last time at CNN? That's right. That's right. I don't know where she's going, whether it's just cuts, because what the hell, what can they possibly keep up over there at CNN? But I did want to go down memory lane with you, and this is 7 years ago. This is Allison Camerota's sexual harassment story. And this was something that I remember watching for the first time with all of you. It's very nostalgic for me now. And let's take a listen to it.
As some of you may know, I spoke out about my experience at Fox News with Roger Ailes. But that was not my first experience with sexual harassment. In 1988, I was a college intern at a news bureau in Washington, D.C. One day, word came down that a famous reporter and producer were coming in to work in our bureau for a couple of days, and I was assigned to help them. This was my big chance to make important contacts for a future job. So off we went to Capitol Hill. My job would be to take notes so I could help the reporter put together his story for the evening news. But about a half an hour in, he started pestering me to have dinner with him. Part of me thought that might be good for my career, but he seemed too aggressive. So I said, no, thank you. I told him I had to be up early. Then he asked me to have a drink with him at his hotel. Again, I said, no, thank you.
That's quite an escalation, too. You want to have dinner? No. I have to be up early. Would you like to take a shower with me?
By that point, we were seated next to each other, about to eat some breakfast, and I noticed him intensely watching me spread cream cheese on my bagel.
Allison, could she have found a less sexual way of retelling this story, by the way? I mean, come on now. Well, look at the look that she's giving us. I just remember seeing this and being the bagel smearing story. This will live forever.
And when I lifted it to my lips, he leaned over and whispered, never before in my adult male life have I ever wished I was a bagel.
Oh, and you see the girls behind, they're like, ugh, shaking their heads. That just brings me back. Never before in my adult male life have I ever wished that I were a bagel. So, Allison, that was her greatest. This story, the telling of this story, was actually her greatest piece of journalism. So, thank you, because everything after that is pretending that the Russian dossier and everything else is real. And what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? By the way, a friend of the show reached out to me about our caller from Arizona last night who wanted to be my mom. By the way, I saw my my mom, my real mom, was in the chat. She got into the chat when the caller from Arizona called in just to tell her to back off. He's my son. Anyway, when she said her son was a drummer, I forgot to ask her what the band name was again, and then I had somebody reach out to me and said, Frank, she said her son was the drummer for Yob, Y-O-B. Now, I never listened to Yob, but I've seen them. They've been around for a long time. I definitely remember them appearing on bills and festivals all over the places, especially when we were a bigger part of like the heavy metal hardcore scene in high school and college, especially up here in the Northeast. We didn't really get around too much, but that was really cool. In a small world. I wonder if Duke Snyder's grandson still watches the show. You know, we have quite a few interesting people in the audience. I'm sure over time we'll meet you more and more. All right, let's just jump right into it, shall we? It'll be a good night indeed. I hope you have your phones ready. Want to take your calls because we're going to go over some material here. And I just want calls because especially when it comes to the United Healthcare CEO assassination, yes, there are the deep dives, there are the big questions, there are the theories, but the real question, the real theme I want to bring up with is the Bonnie and Clyde effect that's happening right now. And that is where there seems to be a lot of overlap between so-called right and left, at least on the internet, where people are happy. They're saying, you know what? So many people suffer at the hands of companies like United Healthcare. To hell with him. And this was in Laurie, and I'll explain the Bonnie and Clyde effect again there too, but I want to hear from you guys. There's going to be so much here. Daniel Penny, a little bit of the New Jersey UFO stuff at the other end, which is getting crazier and crazier. It's drones. It's not, but it's just crazy. It's a crazy situation. And every day there's something new that comes out that escalates it in its importance and the mystery surrounding it, especially what it's all supposed to serve, what purpose it's serving. But yeah, we will be back in just a minute, so don't go anywhere.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's run!
Because there is the first one up. This is from last night. So prepare yourself. From the Peruvian Bull. It says, let me get this straight. Killer is Luigi Mangione. Ivy League grad with degrees in computer science, avid reader, and active contributor on GitHub. Has a 130 plus IQ, but he takes off his mask at a Starbucks to flirt with an employee. Then an hour later goes and calmly kills the CEO of a major healthcare company, rides away on a bike. A week later, goes to a local McDonald's where he brings the murder weapon, the fake ID he used to check into a hotel, and written manifesto on how horrible the American healthcare system is. He somehow gets identified by the cashier after he sits down. He works on his laptop until police come inside the McDonald's, sitting there with a ghost gun and suppressor he made himself. Gotcha. It really just does sound strange. Then he goes to a park and ditches the backpack full of Monopoly money, but not the murder weapon. As far as the money goes, this is from Alex Capreri of News Nation. From the court, Luigi Mangione had a black 3D printed pistol, metal slide, and plastic handle. Also, 6 9mm full metal jacket rounds, at least one hollow point bullet, and a silencer that was also 3D printed. The Commonwealth alleged, when asking that bail be denied, he also was in possession of $8,000 in United States, denominated U.S. And then you have $2,000 in foreign currency. I didn't hear anything, a follow-up as to what currency, which currency this is. Is it euros? Is it something else? Is it Italian lira? Also, bags that are utilized to block the transmission of cellular data. Okay, so like Faraday bags. People have pocketbooks and shielded wallets and things like that all the time. That doesn't really get me. In a strange moment, Luigi interjected and rejected those accusations. He said someone, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. There's a couple of strange moments here. I have one on tape that I got to show you. Tracy tweeted it out not too long ago. In a strange moment, Luigi interjected and rejected those accusations. He said someone must have planted the money because he was not in possession of that much. He also says that the bags are waterproof and meant to keep the electronics dry. So from here on in, I always wonder about accusations of planting, whatever the hell it is, asserting innocence, especially when you have manifestos or anything. I haven't heard any assertions of innocence per se, but if you're owning up to this thing, then what the hell? Why what's the discrepancy with the money? I didn't have that much. It must have been planted there. What would be the reason for someone to plant more money on you when the biggest thing is that you have the murder weapon in your possession still, and there's a trail from you to a murder, a high-profile murder in New York City? What the hell does it matter? Why the objection to that, to the amount of money that they're claiming was in his bag? So that's a question that perhaps you can answer, or at least offer up a theory. Tracy tweeted this out about 5 hours ago. She said, something is super strange about all of this. Either he didn't do it or he's insane. It's one or the other. There's no in between. Now, I don't know if you take a listen to what he says when he gets out of this police car. I guess he's getting, that's New York. It's in New York. So wait, is that New York or is that Pennsylvania? I think that's a New York plate. Pretty sure it is. Anyway, listen to him as he screams when he gets out of the truck.
Down.
All right, he's out.
Oh my God! That's completely out of touch, and it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
Okay, so it sounds like, let's go back to the beginning. Let's even slow it down a little bit. Let's go to 75 speed.
Oh my God! That's completely out of touch.
I think he says this is completely unjust. Christy Laura Grace, our scientist friend, she's in the comments. She tried quoting him, and she said this is completely out of touch. Unjust, it's like in the same kind of thing. But what he says from there.
And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience. So, completely unjust or insult the American people and its lived experience, the lived experience, I don't know. So it's a strange thing. Now there's a dive, one that was going around. I saw it when it was pretty fresh, and I grabbed it for this moment. It's from Vittorio on Twitter. Pretty much opened it up by saying, I haven't slept. And now pretty much goes 4chan green text style and says, B. Luigi Nicholas Mangione, born 1998, Maryland. Family is loaded. Grandfather built golf resorts and luxury clubs. I know. See, that's the other ironic thing here. The family probably has a considerable amount of money. I don't know if as much money as the person he killed. But this is not class warfare, at least on an individual basis. Grows up in Thompson, goes to elite private school, $40,000 a year tuition, but worth every penny. Valedictorian he was in 2016. Classmates describe him as inventive, courageous, and charming. Ivy League material, gets into UPenn. Studies computer science and math, minors in philosophy. Red flag. Co-founds a game development club, works on AI competitions. Perfect Chad, handsome, athletic, ambitious, graduates in 2020 with a BS MS combo, dream life unlocked, lands data engineer job at TrueCar, moves to San Francisco. 2021, cracks start to form. Gets into a surfing accident while on vacation in Hawaii. Chronic low back pain becomes his entire personality. Can't work out, can't sit, can't live like a normal Chad anymore. Goes through the healthcare system hellscape. Insurance denies surgery. Spends on specialists, treatments fail, pain keeps getting worse, resentment grows, starts ranting about parasite healthcare executives. Gets weirdly into niche books. Crooked, Outwitting the Back Pain Industry. That's one of the books, I guess. Back Mechanic by Stuart McGill. Ted Kaczynski, of course, we learned about that yesterday. Industrial Society and Its Future. 4 stars on Goodreads. Posts online about banning porn. Toxic masculinity is under attack. Follows Erowid. Explores psychedelics for self-healing. Tweets get spicier, but no one pays much attention. In 2022, goes on an ayahuasca retreat. Desperate for relief, looking for answers beyond medicine. Claims he saw God during the trip, but also fought off shadowy entities. Describes these as 6D demons trying to implant ideas into his mind. Later tweets cryptic things like, not all pain is physical. They feed on fear, but you can push them back if you see their shape. And healthcare is only part of the cage. Sounds like he, sounds like he's getting deep into it. It's not all physical. They feed on fear, but you can push them back if you see their shape. Friends think he's having a spiritual awakening, but the vibe gets darker. Deletes most of his old tweets, only posts sporadically after this. By 2023, he's fully withdrawn, but something about him seems different. Doesn't talk about demons anymore, like the memory was scrubbed. 2023, leaves TrueCar, moves to Hawaii permanently, broke, depressed, living off of savings, spiraling quietly, becomes a ghost online, posts less, deletes a lot of the old tweets, but what's left feels curated, too on brand. December 4th, 2024, United Health CEO Brian Thompson assassinated, shot outside Hilton Midtown Hotel in broad daylight. December 9th, Luigi arrested at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Found with 3D printed ghost gun, 0 serial numbers, spooky tech vibes, silencer, fake IDs, plural. And why is that? Why plural? Handwritten manifesto blaming healthcare execs for killing Americans. That's the quote. And here's where it gets weird. The manifesto calls CEOs parasites and powerful abusers, apologizes for any trauma caused, but says this had to happen. Specifically named United Healthcare as the enemy of the people, but it reads like something out of a Hollywood movie. Too polished, too coherent for a supposed back pain-ridden maniac. No spelling errors, perfect grammar, emotional yet calculated. Sus. Timeline doesn't add up. Luigi's last known address was in Hawaii. How does he suddenly turn up in New York City? Uses a fake ID to check into a hostel near the crime scene. How convenient. Goes from Hawaii to NYC to Pennsylvania in a matter of days. Gets caught at a McDonald's after a nationwide manhunt. Really? Ghost gun raises red flags. Why would a guy like Luigi, Ivy grad, tech savvy, spotless record, print a gun? Ghost guns are perfect deep state props. Untraceable, terrifying, buzzword worthy. Feels like a setup to push the do-it-yourself domestic terrorism narrative. His social media suddenly blows up. Goodreads reviews of Ted Kaczynski go viral after the arrest. Tweets about healthcare and porn resurfaced, painting him as a radicalized genius. But the timing feels off, like it was meant to create this image. Friends and family are shocked. Here's some quotes. He was a good kid, never showed signs of violence, always so bright. Doesn't fit the profile of a guy who'd snap and assassinate a CEO. So the OP is obviously suggesting it's a psyop. Luigi is the perfect recruit. He's now this is his theory. You take into the show what you might think. Perhaps it's all real. Did he just go crazy from the pain? But just seemed like a guy who's, I don't know, smiled effortlessly in those closed caption security videos. Didn't seem like somebody who was carrying a lot of, I don't know, but maybe he learned to carry it well. Luigi is the perfect recruit. Ivy League pedigree, media catnip, relatable to both elites and normies. Chronic pain, universal sympathy, emotional hook for the masses. Anti-healthcare sentiment taps into leftist rage against capitalism. Manosphere vibes, taints the right with toxic masculinity optics. Erowid and psychedelics, MK Ultra callback, easy to manipulate mindset. The 6D demon fight was part of the setup. Ayahuasca trip wasn't self-healing. It was an astral battlefield. CIA or another deep state group planted the entities to break his spiritual defenses. This is part of his theory. They didn't want to brainwash him. They wanted to hollow him out completely. The fight left cracks in his psyche, making him easier to manipulate afterward. His cryptic tweets, they feed on fear, were cries for help before they fully got him. By the time the CEO murder, he's fully under their control. Either the demons broke him or deep state leveraged the battle to finalize his reprogramming. The actual hit, not Luigi's doing. CIA or Mossad carried out the assassination. Silencer screams a pro job. The Luigi's memories implanted to make him the fall guy. Ghost gun planted as evidence to tie him to the crime. I would not deny this out of hand. That I would not deny it out of hand. I mean, this is Bobby Kennedy's father's, the story of Bobby Kennedy's father's assassin. Why this psyop now, though? Because the right versus left was collapsing. Trump united Silicon Valley libertarians, populists, unions, and VC bros. Woke politics were dying, and no one cared about identity battles anymore. Deep state needed a new cultural fracture to maintain control. Solution, class war. Kill a CEO, blame a relatable radical. Watch the chaos unfold. Left, Luigi is a hero fighting corporate greed. Right, he's a manosphere nut job demonizing capitalism. Now, this is where I would jump in. There's a lot more overlap than you would think. A lot more. Than you think. I mean, if you speak to a normal person, anybody who has their wits about them, they're still like morally intact, then you're going to know as bad as a system can be, and our healthcare system is, murdering people who fill a position that is always going to be filled and replenished is just not, that's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. And only if you are in a broken state of mind would you ever rationalize that as something that could be a fix for a situation or symbolism. Because that's what most people are saying. It's symbolic. I'm going to show you something. Let's go to Piers Morgan, because he had Taylor Lorenz on, that weeping elf. Weeping elf. Taylor Lorenz. And I want to show you, she was on Piers Morgan's show and had taken the position that the murder was a wake-up call for people about the state of health insurance. And in that respect, it was a joyful thing. She tries to like temper herself, go back and just take a listen to this, because then we're going to get into a little bit more. There's one other clip, and then we're going to get into some comments that I've just been seeing. And I want to know what you guys have seen as well and what you guys think. Here, listen to this.
You're unhappy with my mischaracterization of what you said and inferring that you were feeling joyful about what had happened to this guy. So we've got the clip and we'll just play it back just to remind you.
Mm-hmm. I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. This is literally...
So you felt joy. You felt joy.
I'm so glad that you played that clip, because you'll see that I didn't say that I felt joy. And then she said she misspoke and clarified.
Oh.
And I didn't...
And Mark Lamont Hill is there. He's an absolute caveman. I don't know what he gets out of coming to the defense of such a loony woman like Lorenz. and helping her back. Like, well, she said she misspoke and she was trying to clarify. How many other people would get the chance to clarify what they meant when they first expressed, the first thing that they express about any kind of a murder, a public murder, being joy? For one reason, or were you joyful that this person in particular was dead, or that there was a joyful result because it brought attention to something? Either way, whatever you think that the bright side of this is, it came through the act of murder. So that's the issue here. But she's going to defend her position to the best that she can, but she doesn't have much of a brain left.
Say that
you don't think, Mark, it was more that she
death.
wished she hadn't said she felt joy? Because
No.
she suddenly realized how bad it
Why
sounded.
don't you listen to that clip again? Because I don't say that I feel joy in the man's death. I said, I feel joy because, and that's exactly when you cut me off. And if you let me finish, I would say, I feel joy.
Bullshit.
Oh, bullshit, Piers. You don't know what was in my head.
That's not.
First of all, when did people start? Can they just? I remember the whole shithole countries thing on CNN and MSNBC, and there was like a shithole tally. How many times that all the anchors like repeated the word shithole on television, only because it's, A, it's the news, B, it's prime time. Usually the S word is something that is not, is left out because there might be families watching and all that stuff. But is Piers Morgan on television? Or is this just an internet show? Because it's crazy how much I see news anchors just cursing now. And he says he goes even bigger than that in the next clip. Listen to this.
She's right, Piers.
Bullshit.
She actually said, I feel joy, and then you interrupted her there. Perhaps, I don't know what she was going to say, but she certainly didn't get a chance to finish.
Well,
finish
the viewers
thought.
can watch the whole thing in the right context.
And you may not realize this, but
we don't censor things here. Mark, I don't know why you're going out of your way to defend her, mate. Because Taylor, let's be honest, you know what you said. You wish you hadn't said it.
Truth.
Let me give Taylor an opportunity. Would you like to apologise for using the word joy?
Again, if you take the word joy completely out of context from the word that I said
context. Would you like
it
to?
was because
would you like to
I'm so glad
apologise?
you just
Yes or
played
no?
the clip.
Yes or no?
You just played the clip that showed that
Do you
I
want to
said I feel joy
apologise?
because, and that's right when you cut me off.
Do you
So
want
let
to
me tell you why I
apologise?
feel joy. I feel joy because people like you, who are rich and powerful and on TV and have all the access to all the healthcare privileges in the world, are finally being forced to pay attention to the barbaric healthcare system that murders tens of thousands of innocent Americans. And that is what I feel joy in, that people like you are forced to confront those systemic problems. Joy
through a murder. And we all know exactly what the system is. We all know exactly what that system is. Like people don't know. People don't know that healthcare is fucking out of control. That the healthcare insurance, I should say, it's not healthcare. That insurance is out of control. It's not a class warfare thing. If you are paying no taxes, if you have no money, if you go and you apply to the government for, whatever the hell it is, MVP or whatever the hell it is, if you go through one of their portals, you're going to get health care. You're not going to be charged. And trust me, people who are higher up the economic ladder know just how much it is because we're the ones paying for ourselves and everybody else. Hell, I just talked to Chris Hamilton. We had this wonderful story about how bad healthcare insurance is. On November 19th, we did this. I reached out to him today and said, wow, what a well-timed show we did. And we not only went into why it's how to make it better, how it got there, all that stuff. And in that show, I told you, I have had to go outside of what is traditional health insurance to be able to make things work financially because I've been priced out of it. No doubt about it. If I went in and I picked up some, Cobra plan or whatever, I would be working my normal 16, 17-hour days for nothing else but to break even with all the overhead with this on. There'd be no saving. There'd be nothing. So I think everybody knows how bad it is out there. I think everybody knows. Even if you have it, people don't want to use it just in case. It's just incredible here what they say. But the Bonnie and Clyde effect is in full swing. I want you to see something else. Here's a little bit more of what Taylor Lorenz said on December 4th. She said, This is from the New York Post. There's a couple other things here too, but I thought this would be good enough. I hope people learn the names of all these insurance company CEOs and engage in very peaceful letter writing campaigns so that they can stop ruthlessly murdering thousands of innocent Americans by denying coverage. Healthcare is a human right. No, healthcare insurance is not a human right. No, it's not. No, it's not. We need universal basic health care now, she says. You see, this is the whole problem here. Stop speaking for everybody knows how terrible the healthcare system is, all right? But it's only as bad as it is because it more closely resembles what the left and people like Taylor Lorenz would want from the system. We're dangerously close to what they think is going to be the solution. That's the issue. We're closer to what they want. There is no competition here. Here's the second clip. Take a listen to this.
You're unhappy with my mischaracterization of what you said in inferring that you were feeling joyful about what had happened.
Wait a second. That's not it. This is not it either. Where the hell's the other one? Wait a second. Give me a second. Okay, here you go. So now I think this is the other person on the line with them is Tomi Lahren. I think that's who she is, the blonde. And while she's speaking, Taylor Lorenz, the weeping elf, nobody knows how old she is, she keeps smiling and giggling to herself, and Piers Morgan, he gets mad. And that's what I'm talking about. I found it hard to believe that he's still on television. I thought this was some kind of an internet production or something like that, because listen to how this devolves.
Yeah, this is still the remnants of the incredibly bratty Occupy Wall Street movement that's morphed into 100 other movements by now, all equally as disgusting. But to celebrate the murder of a husband and a father simply because you disagree with his position at a company, or you disagree with the company, or you disagree with the system of healthcare that we have in the U.S. is quite frankly sick, twisted, and disgusting. Why you'd celebrate anybody's murder, especially just an innocent man who you happen to disagree with, is really shocking to me. But it also just goes to show that the left and many on the left have a tendency to believe that violence like this, political violence, is necessary. It's a means to an end. And if they believe in the end and they believe in the means, it's really sick and wrong. If you want to have a conversation about healthcare in this country, that's fine. Let's have that all day long. But to be joyful, or even to say you're not empathetic about somebody losing their life when they leave behind two young boys, especially during the holiday season, the same day that millions of New Yorkers are celebrating a tree lighting, I mean, that's just too far for me, a bridge too far. The loving and tolerant left is at it again, Piers.
Yeah, Taylor, I don't mean to be rude, but why the fuck are you laughing all the time? I don't get it. Sorry, apologies for my language, but honestly, I find it unbelievable. What are you laughing at?
Piers, I am laughing at Tommy's insane mischaracterization of why people are angry. It has nothing to do with Occupy Wall Street. This is a feeling that people feel across the left and the right. You mentioned Ben Shapiro earlier in his video about the healthcare exec.
Okay, so still, I thought that was pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. But on that Ben Shapiro thing, now I didn't watch it, but my brother texted me about it. He said, "Hey, have you seen this?" I said, "No." He said, "Take a look at the comments, though." And I went into the comments, and it's mirroring a lot of the different things. Now, there are just people across the board who are condemning the murder for exactly what it is. It's terrible. And then there is a lot of other stuff going on. Like I'm telling you, the Bonnie and Clyde effect, where back when Bonnie and Clyde were together and they were just, running roughshod across the country, robbing banks and killing cops and just leaving a trail of blood and destruction behind them, they had quite an enthusiastic fan base, especially when you're talking about during times like people like John Dillinger and other people too. Bank robbers became cult figures. These cult figures for a lot of people during depressions and everything else, recessions, whenever little people were feeling hurt by conditions that they see were either caused or exacerbated by government action. And when they lost the family farm and they lost this and that, and when people were feeling stiffed and they saw the rich getting richer and that divide getting wider, it's just almost like, yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah, someone go rob that damn bank. Now, along the way, people died, but, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, they're all, they became pretty big cult heroes for a lot of people, folk heroes for a lot of people, even though they were murderers. Well, I don't know. Dillinger wasn't. Did Dillinger kill how many people? What was his deal? Bonnie and Clyde were ruthless. But so that's all just called the Bonnie and Clyde effect for now. But listen to this. Here's just some of the comments. We got conservatives and liberals hugging each other in a comment section before GTA 6. It's not left or right. It's not black or white. It's rich versus poor. Your true colors are showing. This is all, remember, this is being directed at Ben Shapiro. I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I want health care for my family. 25,000 likes. Right winger here. You're wrong, Ben. This man denied 35% of claims. The facts do not care about any of our feelings. Respectfully, I think this take was out of touch. He had a wife and family. Yeah, bro. So did the hundreds of thousands of people who were denied health care and die. Hundreds of thousands of people who are given health care die too. Medical malpractice stacked on top of pharmaceutical-related deaths every year. Incredible. See, the whole problem here is I understand that people are hurting, and we all see the same issue. Everybody knows how bad the system is, but, Taylor Lorenz, especially Mark Lamont Hill, they don't want systems broken apart, decentralized, made more intelligent, more competitively priced, more personalized. They don't want that. They advocate for the government becoming the chief administrator of healthcare, which is why euthanasia is being prescribed in Canada to address low income. Low income in Canada? Have you tried death? This is where it's all going. Here's another one. You're wrong, Ben. I'm that evil leftist you always rage about. I'm an uncle who is as conservative as they come, voted for Trump and everything. We have very little in common, avoid each other at holiday parties. I can tell you we both wept when my dad slowly died of cancer while the insurance he paid for kept denying him life-saving care. We both saw the injustice in that. That same uncle is posting on Facebook right now how he couldn't give an F about no CEO. Insurance companies kill millions of people a year, and they don't discriminate between leftists and conservatives. Understood, but what are we asking for? How do you fix this? What do you ask for? Now, murder is at the center of this story. But taking the murder out of the way, all right, you've got everybody's attention now. What's the fix? Because if you're like, what is it? I should have brought Chris Hamilton back on for tonight. That's just it's a big question. It's a big question because, how do you make it more competitive and how do you make it more affordable so that people like me can partake in it? That we don't have to get crafty. And we definitely need a revolution of thought inside of the country as far as how doctors behave and how they interact with their patients. Direct care, breaking away from these giant networks. We covered a lot of that on November 19th. But I want to talk to you guys about it tonight because I'm sure you're very, very opinionated on the issue. And we probably agree on most things that are wrong with the actual system itself. But a murder has been committed to bring attention to that. And I can almost guarantee you that nobody is going to, offer up anything as a solution. And is that the way that you offer it up? That's the question. And call in and give me whatever the hell you want. One thing I do have and I'll put that up on the screen, 914-200-0269. Because, and again, most people are going to be mandating these companies to spend money. mandating them to spend money. And is that even really the case? Is that really what insurance is? Again, when we were talking about Obamacare and how it actually destroyed the idea of insurance to the umpteenth degree, where you say that people are taking a risk, you have two parties that are assessing the risk of getting sick and not getting sick. And that risk analysis is what keeps things level, and that is what keeps things competitive. That's what makes it insurance. But when you mandate that everybody has to be covered for everything, it's not insurance, it's just welfare. And then we get into all of the reasons why things are billed higher, when costs are just guaranteed, payment is guaranteed, why healthcare just gets more and more expensive. The same reason why we have this gigantic debt bubble with education and all those government-backed loans there too. It's the same thing. You know, and that's what Taylor Lorenz and Mark Lamont Hill are going to push us toward. I feel like once a year or something, we learn about, parents in the UK or Australia who are threatened with prison time by their government if they take their dying children outside of the country, their respective countries, for treatment somewhere else. How many times have we heard and followed along those painful timelines of events? And I wonder if Taylor Lorenz thinks that Anthony Fauci, She called a CEO's, some ghoul, called him a ghoulish CEO, the Brian Thompson guy from United Health. Called him ghoulish because he was merely a CEO, and that some other ghoul will come up in his place. Okay, well, I wonder again if Taylor Lorenz or Mark Lamont Hill or anybody else would go out there on Piers Morgan and call Anthony Fauci a ghoul. Was Anthony Fauci a ghoul for shutting down people's kidneys with remdesivir during COVID? Partly because it would get the death toll up and partly because it pays? Because people like Anthony Fauci would be the new CEO of United States healthcare system. That's who the CEOs of the healthcare system that Taylor Lorenz would be. Dumb bitch still wears a mask. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. Let's take the first call. 989, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, well, how's it going today?
It's going well. Yeah, cut that down and off of speakerphone.
I got it off.
And speakerphone?
Yeah, cool. Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I just wondered, was the hero or is he a villain,
Well,
that's kind of 50-50.
That's the whole question. I mean, there's nothing heroic about insurance and the state of our healthcare system. There's nothing, good for people who have good experiences, but there are plenty of people, you go through the gauntlet between what are doctors incentivized to give you. You go through the gauntlet of the hospital systems and their protocols, how that dictates down to doctors, the pharmaceuticals that are in the middle of everything. The pharmacies the pharmacy chains have even been getting more and more politicized all over the place. If you have a healthcare issue, you go through the gauntlet from every aspect of it. So I understand where we're talking about an industry full of villains, even though there might be, maybe, and are a lot of people who want to do the right thing. But, how do you get that attention? Is it really murder?
Yeah, well, my fact is I believe that's a hard question. I mean, if it was murder, exactly. But to make a point like you were saying earlier, to get to the answers on what to do about it. Trump's already said that he's already going to cut the middleman out when he developed, when he's in the works of that new Obama. He's going to do something better with it. Let's hope.
No, well, babe. Well,
but other than that, hey, finally got your gift you sent me there, them playing cards and stuff.
I'm glad that you got it.
I appreciate it. I have to donate you some money here one of these days.
Listen, whatever. If that day comes and whatever you're comfortable with, I'd be very grateful for that. But in the meantime, here's what you can do. Next time it's just like a cold night. Where are you again? Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan.
Next time you have a terribly cold night in Michigan, you're getting snowed in, do me a favor, sit down at your kitchen table, throw down a game of solitaire, and take a picture of the table. I want to see all those cards arranged in a nice solitaire stack.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll send it to your email then, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Hey, which is the best site to, is it the TV one there, Pilled, YouTube, or what is it, Rumble? You're on all of them, right?
What, the best site to watch on?
No, which one's the best to tip on? Because I think Rumble's the best if you use your computer. That's what a couple other guys were saying.
To be honest, I don't. That again, my friend, and thank you for the call. It's really up. It's up to you. Whatever you think is most functional. I think Rumble is more like what the YouTube used to be like, where the $ is right there by the text field on the chat. If you wanted to do a Rumble rant, there's that. But I don't know. Whatever you feel comfortable with, and I'm not worried about it. I'll be grateful one way or another. Thank you for the call. Let's take another one. 303, you're on the air. What do you think about everything?
Hey, Frankie. Couple things real quick. Remember back in the day when Sarah Palin said there would be death panels.
Oh, yeah.
When the Affordable Care Act was pushed. And then one more thing just real quick is remember Fauci has Secret Service protection.
Isn't Joe Biden? Am I in call? What's your? This is David.
Yeah.
Am I going nuts? I don't know if I saw the headlines correctly. Did Joe Biden consider, or did he actually do? I heard that he's considering preemptive sweeping pardons for Anthony Fauci as well.
That's correct. Yeah. Yep.
I wonder why.
Yeah, but I tell you though, what's really telling is the fact that they've given him Secret Service protection. That tells us everything we need to know. It does. It really does. So just thought I'd drop that on you. Great show, brother. I love you.
Well,
take care.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And and to David's point there, that was a big part of the November 19th show that we did with Mr. Hamilton on health insurance. Toward the end, I asked him about death panels. It's not even, they laughed about it. Sarah Palin or whoever else was talking about it at first because it sounded so extreme. When you're at the top of the slippery slope, it's easy to laugh at anybody who says this is where it's all going to go, but it's very easy. It's nothing crazy to consider when you put such an incredible system, when you build up such an incredible system and you put it into the hands of a central authority like that, the central authority is going to have to balance the books. And when you're literally taking inventory, and we are the inventory, and we have expiration dates on us, our usefulness. It's everything. What's wrong with us? How old are we? Who has a better chance of surviving? There's a central authority that is going to have to make hard decisions about that. Cold decisions about that. Decisions that should only be up to a person and their doctor. How hard you want to fight, what options you want to take up to treat yourself if you're in one position or another, how far you want to take your own life and your journey there. That's really the whole thing, and that goes away because you have to be managed like so many units in a warehouse. It's a cold thing, but it comes with the territory, no doubt about it. So again, here it is. When someone says, screw United Health, hundreds of thousands of people are killed because of this and that. Yeah, I know. Hundreds of thousands of people are denied for this and that. I get it. 100%. They're balancing the books. This is why it's ridiculous that we're down to how many major, mega companies that manage this kind of service? I understand. We all agree on a lot. The question is, what is the solution? And there's too many people who think that going farther into the direction that destroyed us and put us in this situation, they think that is the solution. It's not at all. 504, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, sweeties, it's Kelly. How are you, dear?
Hello, Kelly. Good to have you on.
I just wanted to touch base. I know you're going to be getting a lot of calls on this. When Robbie was going through his gastroparesis, started in 2004, the company I was at, I had coverage for him as the primary. Through the private coverage, he already had Medicare as secondary. The doctors recommended a device that wasn't fully FDA approved for his stomach called a gastric electrostimulation device.
Oh, God.
Gastric electrical stimulation device.
Yeah, I know.
It would literally like electrocute his stomach every so many seconds.
Oh, I know.
To make it move.
It's a pacemaker for your
because
stomach.
Because it wasn't fully approved by the FDA. The first insurance I had was Coventry of Louisiana. They denied it. We appealed it. They denied the appeal. Company shopped around. Then we got United Healthcare. They denied it. We appealed it. They denied the appeal. Third company was Blue Cross. They denied it. We appealed it. They denied the appeal. Then at a certain point, he got so sick, I had to quit my job. Or they laid me off because I'd used all of my 12 weeks of the FMLA 12-week off time. They sent me a pink slip. The private insurance expired at the end. Funny, I got laid off on September 11th of 2007. When the end of the month hit, the Medicare kicked in as the primary coverage, and they covered the device immediately. So it did give him some relief, but it didn't totally help.
No, it didn't.
And he would still get sick.
Yeah, I get it, and I know, and I can see that there's the runaround that you get, and
it's sickening.
I totally understand what you're coming from, Kelly, and you know.
And then a friend in Rochester, his dad's 94, has some kind of infection, and they won't give him a drug that would potentially get rid of the infection because he's 94, and they don't want to spend that kind of money on some antibiotic that's expensive.
See, I'm saying, yeah, he is good. You know, they're essentially looking at a can of your friend in Rochester is essentially a can of peas, and they're thinking right now that he's an old can of peas whose expiration date is coming up soon. He's in the back room, and they're wondering whether or not they should put it out on the shelf and even attempt to sell him. Because, who's going to, that's how dehumanizing the whole thing becomes. No doubt.
Real quick point I wanted to tell you is right after it happened, I saw something on the internet where it said that this was all to be a push to get through socialized medicine and healthcare. And it kind of seems that way.
That would be, and if you're talking about, and thank you for the call, Kelly, for everything, and persevere, my friend. If that's what's going on here, first of all, it's not they should have done this a couple of years ago. I don't see how this is going to put any kind of pressure on the Trump administration to bolster and reinforce Obamacare, which is what you're talking about there. So I don't think that's going to be the case at all. It's bad one way or another. Okay? But, shit, do I know all about that? Lauren, she suffered with gastroparesis for a long time. And to a degree, she's still kind of working through it. I got to tell her, so one day we'll tell her story, maybe when she's here with Jay Gulanello. This year has been a life-saving year. When she first got sick in 2012, man, it was scary. We didn't know what the hell it was. She took every kind of test possible. Now, thankfully, she was working with a company at that time that had good insurance, and we went all over the place, but nobody had answers. Finally, I had a gastroenterologist that I trained, personal trainer, and I got in touch with him. I said, "Hey, Spencer," because he was like number 2 in the whole state of New York for gallbladders and everything else. I said, "Here's what's going on." And he said, "It sounds like gastroparesis." And I'm thinking about it, and I just all the doctors we went to, nobody can come up with anything. It was leukemia they tested her for, gallstones, kidney stones, Lyme disease, whatever the hell it was. It was harrowing, and within the course of 3 months, she lost like 60 pounds, and I didn't know nightmares. Listen, we all got them, and then it stabilized for a while. I literally went on to Google. I just typed in stomach stopped working, gastroparesis comes up. I said, Spencer, do you have anybody that you can link us up with? And he got me a personal meeting with a doctor at Columbian Presbyterian in the city, and we went down there. And they gave Lauren, she ate the radioactive sandwich and the barium solution and all that stuff. And they tracked it through her to see how it's all moving and stuff like that. And he says, yeah, it's gastroparesis. Now that is one thing. Now, as far as cause, they called it idiopathic, which means it just happened. There's no cause. These things just fucking happen. Which I was like, not accepting that. It took about 11 and a half years before not accepting that premise actually paid off for us, and we were blessed to have Jay Gulanello in our lives. I'm telling you, this is a miraculous story. Not miraculous even. It's just where we need to go as far as investigation and opening up our minds. But they were telling us at one point all of those different procedures, all the procedures that I know that stomach pacemaker very, very well. We're thinking about it, actually thinking about it. And they said, it's a little uncomfortable. It'll help with the nausea a little bit because it's going to stimulate the vagus nerve and make the stomach work a little bit more to empty. There are some Frankenstein things I don't even want to talk about. To think that some people actually did some of these things out there, removing their whole stomach and just connecting the esophagus to the small intestine, just removing the stomach. To think that there's somebody out there that tried that. Nightmares. So that just to be navigating those waters in general and then have to deal with the providers on top of it who are going to fund this stuff, and them, sometimes the insult to injury for them saying, no, it's not necessary. It's nuts. It really is. Okay, 8:02. We're coming back with more of your calls. It should have just been a one-topic show. I'm going to have to cut out the UFO stuff again, even though it's really, really good. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow night on the second half after Jay Dyer. But really, really quick break. When we come back, taking more of your calls. Don't go anywhere, please.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Entering, quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
How dare you?
Okay, just a little bit of a divider there in the middle of it all. There's something else that it's worth saying, very, very much so. On the flip side of all this stuff, the Bonnie and Clyde effect, where there's a lot of people. First of all, let's not get away from the big topic. When you call in, think about the deep dive that we did. What do you feel about the situation? Because the surface level issue is, man, healthcare is so bad and everybody's getting screwed. To hell with this guy. And what do you think about the healthcare system? The other question is, do you believe this story in its entirety? That this kid just radicalized himself because of chronic lower back pain and went and killed the guy, and all of the strange self-defeating things that he did from the moment of the assassination to when he got to the McDonald's in Pennsylvania, including still carrying on his person all of the things that should have been dumped in the Hudson River as he was exiting the city. why he had all of his IDs, why they weren't burned or cut up or thrown into a sewer, the fact that he had his gun, everything, and why the pushback on the amount of money that was found in that other sack, going as far as to say that someone planted it there. Having a little bit extra money planted on you, what does that get anybody as opposed to having a gun planted on you or something else? I mean, whether he had $1,000 or $8,000, what does it mean? So don't get away from that either. What do you think about the actual story that we're getting? Then we could talk about the Bonnie and Clyde effect on top of that, where, what do you think, what's your opinions on this? What is your opinion on this? Especially since murder is not going to actually fix the problem. Because the real question is, what cause of the problem are people actually having their attention drawn to? What is it? What's the solution that's going to be asked of us? And why now? Because you'd have to imagine that all the things that we're going to have come our way over the next 4 years, we're not going to see Obamacare get expanded under Trump. So what is that? So you have that. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is it just an indifferent thing, a tragic thing where everybody is driven, where it's all legitimate and he was driven to doing something horrific? And now that we're sitting here in the aftermath, let's talk about a real issue. I'm not going to call it a joyous event. So it's up to you where you want to go with that. But one thing I will say, on the flip side, most people who are getting all gushy over the symbolism of killing a CEO, a father of two, because of where he worked, many of those same people are enraged that a good man took action to protect innocent lives from a violent criminal on a subway car in New York City. I'm speaking, of course, about Daniel Penny. It's an interesting thing. That's where people are split on. Now, I think that's because there's a commonly held experience on how bad the healthcare system is and what insurance really means to people from a financial level, from a sustainability level, from a denial of claims level, all that. I think we have a lot more common ground there, but it's there's a lot of people who are gushy over the symbolism of the dead CEO that are also enraged that Daniel Penny did anything to stop a crazy guy, an unhinged man, the Neely guy, from harming people. So let's take a call. 203, you're on the air. Here's Connecticut.
Yep.
Hello?
How you doing, Frank?
You got it.
Hey, I don't believe anything about this.
Okay.
This whole thing.
You're the guy I want to talk to then. Give me the reason why.
If you noticed in the beginning, the guy had that tan-looking backpack. Couldn't even see his face totally. He had the mask on. And then the next pictures they started showing in the news were all about the other backpack with a different color jacket. And then the guy smiling and cheesing all over the place. And then, like, when the media starts running with stuff like that and not showing the original photo, that the first one they took, and it's plastered all over the news about this other backpack and a different picture. Now the guy's smiling and everything. I mean, how do you go about believing anything these people say?
It's only with the way that they described his pain and his physical condition that he's in, you almost expect him never to be able to crack a smile again, right?
Exactly. That's another thing. And now the guy's sitting at a McDonald's with a gun, a note, just like everybody else. I mean, it seems like every single person nowadays that does some kind of weird shootings, they all have a manifesto on them when they get caught, or on their person, or in their their immediate area. This guy, I think this guy is going to be a patsy, like you read earlier on the report about that what that guy posted on Twitter. About the media, the deep state needing something to tear the communities apart now, and now you got BLM looking for black vigilantes to come out now. What they're talking about now. Come on now, what the hell's going on with that?
That in itself, putting those two things side by side is very interesting. That's why no matter what we cut out tonight out of the format, the Daniel Penny thing versus the this thing with Luigi is truly interesting stuff. And like you said,
yeah, it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that Daniel Penny thing. I mean, what's going to go on now with these civil charges? Are they going to like rape the guy over the coals just like they did with Alex Jones? I mean, this guy's going to have to come up with $2 million to pay a father that was never in the guy's life. You know, this guy crawls out of the sewer to claim he's got a son now. You saw him on that report. I mean,
absolutely,
when he had nothing to say. You know, your son's on the subway dancing and threatening people, and then you're going to come out when the guy's dead and want to claim that he's an angel. You know, this is just our society's going to hell, Frank. I'm glad you're out here doing what you're doing because we love you. We watch you. I watch you every day when I'm driving my truck in the mornings. Usually don't see you at night. I'm usually in bed by now, brother.
Well, here, so who am I speaking to right now? This is Nelson.
Yes, this is Nelson.
All right, Nelson.
I'm here with my wife Dawn. Yeah, we love you.
Well, here's what you got. Here's what you got to do, Nelson. You got to email me. Email me the your area code and Nelson, all that, and then send me a shipping address. I'm going to send you a pack of cards. I'm going to send you a pocket Constitution and a Quite Frankly coin.
Oh yeah, we think your daughter is the cutest little thing.
Well, thank you. I'll tell her that tomorrow morning. Make sure you email me because I'm going to send you these things. Okay.
And one other thing, Frank, how the hell do I go about donating your money on Rumble? I have no idea how to do that. I watch you on Rumble every day, every morning. But I mean, at 3:00 in the morning when I'm driving, I just can't understand how to go about. I'm gonna have to research this. So.
No, okay. Well, if that's the case, I don't think you can send a Rumble rant if the show is not live. So if you're watching if you're watching the rerun at 3:00 in the morning, if you go on Rumble right now, then right down at the bottom you'll see a $sign by the subscribe, like by the text field. So that's your issue there. But I don't know.
All right,
it's all good.
You keep up the good work, man. All right, I appreciate you. You know, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
All right,
send me an email.
All right, brother. Take care.
I
will. Take care.
Okay, so there you go. I'm just giving things away. Good point there. Listen to this. Here's a guy. His name is Zoran Mandani. I think he's running for mayor in New York. He wanted to give everybody a statement on the acquittal of Daniel Penny. You ready? Jordan Neely needed stable housing and consistent mental health care, that is. Instead, he was killed in a subway system that had become his only means of survival. Oh, is that what he was doing down in the subway? Surviving? Sounded like he was routinely threatening people's lives. Today's verdict is not justice, nor was his killer a hero. Rather, this tragedy lays bare decades of policy failure that can no longer be tolerated. We need to dramatically expand peer-based crisis intervention for New Yorkers in severe distress, increase access to ongoing preventative mental health services. You know, it gets into healthcare again. We are fucking cracking. We're breaking up. We are breaking up. Connect people with actual stable housing or not a patchwork of shelters. New York deserves safety and support, not violence and neglect. You know that comes from parents. If this is, it's always good to have emergency services ready for anybody out there who's an adult that's in need. Everybody finds themselves in need of help at some point or another. Crisis happens. You find yourself in the middle of a crisis. That doesn't stop once you leave. But we're talking about people who are coming from long, unbroken chains of broken homes and everything else. There's just such a bigger issue here going on, aside from the chemical dependency stuff. Plus, we heard about Mr. Neely along the way. Actually, here is a little bit of it. I grabbed this in case I needed it. As a part of a plea agreement, this is stuff that came up along the course of the trial, too. As part of a plea agreement with prosecutors after Jordan Neely, the deceased, punched a 67-year-old woman in the street in 2021, which was one of his 42 arrests, mind you. Jordan Neely was given free access to stable housing and health care at a treatment facility in the Bronx. He abandoned the facility after 13 days. Now again, like the healthcare CEO, but on the flip side, 42 arrests. Was the healthcare CEO personally punching people in the face? You can say one might have been, left out in the cold from the other person's industry. The other person who deserved to die. Is there any deserving of death in this, or is it just the way it happened? So it's a strange thing because everybody's going to take different stances on it, no doubt about it. Unless, of course, Zohan over here is suggesting that Jordan Neely should have been forcibly institutionalized, which I might agree with him. But I'm sure you guys and gals see the distinction here. Luigi, for many people, is a good guy. Daniel Penny is a bad guy. Jordan Neely is a misunderstood saint, of course. Brian Thompson, irredeemable ghoul. And regardless of what the truth about these individuals are, this is just what we're hashing out right now. And I don't think that the most important topic of conversation right now is how bad is the health insurance industry? We all know how bad it is. What the hell was this assassination about? Does it have anything to do with that DOJ investigation we're hearing about? I've seen Nancy Pelosi's name floated here and there, insider trading, this and that. What is that really about? We all know healthcare system is screwed up. Okay? And if we start getting into that conversation, then we're really not going to go anywhere because most people don't know what the fuck they're asking for. Okay? It's just like you're getting stuck in traffic. You hate everybody else that's in traffic around you. Your day is the most important. Your plans are the most important. And everybody in traffic around you fucked your day up. Okay? Same thing with healthcare. Everybody's like, I want everybody to have healthcare. You just want to be able to make sure that anytime you need money, it's there for you, which is fine. Everybody needs to be motivated by self-interest. You have to. It's survival. But sometimes we don't ask for the right things when we're just thinking about what we would like to be readily available to us. And that's why I think the most important issue is what the hell happened? Does this story make sense? 508, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank.
Hey.
Dave, the Micmac from Massachusetts.
What's up, Dave?
We haven't spoken since the spring, but I also happen to be the Dave that has been in an email correspondence with you about losing my voice.
Oh, well, your voice sounds great tonight.
I'm 3 weeks through treatment, and I've got my voice back.
You sound great, so, and I won't. You just say exactly what you need, and not a second more, so that you don't tax yourself on my account.
Okay, but trust me, I could sing a song if I had to.
Oh, good.
No, this particular story, I have to say, I view everything through the distorted lens of the narrative they've been given us to believe. So I think that something's missing from this story, but I've been preoccupied with my treatment, so I'm not really sure what the details are. But I don't believe that this guy is the killer or is the only one involved or anything like that. So something more is going to come out of this.
He's a very for the profile that we got of him. He's a very intelligent person. You would think that if this is not the real story, they're going to have to really severely limit where he's seen. He's already, screaming out to onlooking crowds, this and that, what one thing or another. If he really is a patsy, then we got to watch out for who Jack Ruby is. Who's the Jack Ruby going to be? I don't know.
That's a great point. I also wonder whether or not this CEO was some sacrificial lamb to derail some things that they think RFK might want to do with the healthcare system, because they're going to try to make him out into a boogeyman, I think, who's going to ruin everything, you know. But the real point I want to make is that, you know, I was on her listening earlier, and somebody made some great points about how this guy made decisions that caused whole families to lose their loved ones and so on and so forth. And, you know, there's something to consider there. But I'd rather take it a step further back and say, why are people sick to begin with? And this is why I'm such a big fan of the RFK Jr. thing. Is healthcare really expensive because it's expensive, or is it expensive because so many of us are sick and there's money to be made? You know?
Okay, so then what I would say is, and Dave, thank you for the call, and I'm so happy to hear your voice, and I'm glad.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, and keep in touch, and I love all the updates, and all the best to you over the holidays and into the new year. Call in again soon.
Okay, take care.
But here's what I would say, Dave, because I know that you're listening on the on the other end of the call. Go back and listen to the November 19th show with Chris Hamilton. It's the title of the show is called Health Insurance Insider and something else. Go listen to that show, because there is a cost that rises with how specialized medical interventions become. I mean, we're talking about highly specialized work that people do, surgeons. The what is capable now in an operating room is miraculous. That is going to naturally come with an increase of cost. But the real question is, how are we managing our healthcare outside of that? How is our food? How does everything else play a role with direct care with doctors and everything else? How can the system be broken down so that when it comes to surgery, when it comes to being admitted into the hospital, catastrophic care, anything like that, you have to go to the emergency room, that we have insurance for things that are big like that, and where all the money is being made, and money that is actually mandated to be made because you have an obligation as a business owner, a gigantic business owner, to increase stock value for your shareholders. And the way that this is all exploding and becoming more self-perpetuating and self-serving for the insurance companies themselves, and not necessarily being in it to ensure that people have the best health care, it's all laid out in that episode. It really is great. There is a natural rise in cost, no doubt about it, but there's other things going on. Other things going on that make this out of control. That is on top of the fact that healthcare providers know exactly that if they can charge whatever they want and insurance is going to pay for it. Just like when you talk about government-backed loans for school, as I said in that episode, to a degree, schools can charge whatever. They can just increase their tuition, whatever the hell it is, and they know that the government is going to back it. Outside of that, there are real costs that need to be incurred on the school level, on the campus level, for all of the new people that are coming in, because there's more access to the campus through these issuing of loans. For example, you're going to need some smaller universities are going to need more dormitories built. You're going to have to hire new teachers, new maintenance workers, custodians, whatever the hell it is. You're going to create new programs. You need more staff. You're going to upgrade your kitchens, whatever the hell it is. There's all types of reasons why the costs explode, but ain't nothing like a blank check and guaranteed money to say, put a little bit more in there. So a lot of it comes together, and it forms a perfect storm. It really does. So untangling that knot is going to be really interesting to see. I hope somebody attempts it, because it would be wonderful just to observe it. All right, 406, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank.
Who's this?
How are you? It's Maggie and Nathan in Montana.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Well, we got a story for you for your open line.
For your drone invasion.
The drone invasion. Okay, give it to me.
Okay, so last night, 10:45 p.m. Mountain Time, I stepped out to relieve myself, as I do often, because it's a massive forest and it's really beautiful.
What do you have? You have an outhouse, or you just like peeing outside?
Yeah, we have like a comp house.
We're off grid. We don't have any running water yet.
Okay.
So wait, hold on. Before you go any further than that, so let's say you said you're in Montana, right?
Yes.
So it's in the dead of winter. There is there's a blizzard outside. You still like, if it's whiteout conditions, you still have to crawl across the snow to get to the hole that you dug outside?
Oh no, it's not a hole. We actually have a real toilet.
Oh, okay. Why not in the house?
And it's covered with a tarp, so it has a beautiful view of all these, snow-covered hills and mountains.
Pines.
Okay.
Pines. Yeah, it's a very, very relaxing place to do your business.
Okay, so I was going to say, it sounds like a lot of work just to get there, though.
But most of the time, when it's just the number one, you just do it standing up, as a man. You
get it.
Mark your territory, let the bears know you're around, all that stuff.
It's a smart move. Go ahead.
So we finally, after 2 weeks of literally being lambasted with chemtrails, we got a clear night last night. And it was a beautiful half moon. You could see stars for once, some constellations. And so I just happened to just be ready to start my, relieving of myself. And I look to the north, and I will say about not even 700 yards out over a creek bed, I viewed I don't know what you call it, the sport model, a very small version of, kind of like the TR3B technology that a lot of people are seeing.
Yeah.
The triangles with where they get bright and then they go black and sometimes they go red as they go, warping out.
But you saw the triangle shape though, the classic 4 lights?
No, I didn't. Not last night. I've seen lots of those in the Mojave Desert where we used to live.
Okay.
So I know exactly what a TR3B looks like and its power plant, using some sort of mercury and, all that kind of stuff. The microwaves where they shoot it into the triangle to distort time and space.
Yep.
To phase out. Well, this was what I would call a sport model. It was small, like literally the size of a smart car or something in the air. And, it had a very small, very faint trail, but it was bright white. It was a sphere of bright white, and it was not even 300 feet in the air, maybe 200 feet in the air. It was just over the trees.
Silent?
Just over the tree line. Yes, completely, absolutely silent.
See, that right there is and you're talking about 700 yards. So that's very close. And when you think about what is going on in New Jersey, which I'll spend a good amount of time on that over the next day or so, because I've been compiling. So maybe I'll do a little bit at the tail end tonight. But you can hear the buzzing. You can tell that there is something there. It's either propellers, it's something, but you got the real deal.
Yes, I've heard those, and I've actually heard those before, and they've been hidden in the clouds before. But we have lots of jets that fly over. You can see the chemtrail jets very clearly. We're on top of a mountain. But this was not any of that. It was definitely some sort of electrogravitic technology. And this thing floated more gracefully than any TR3B I've ever seen. And when it became aware that it was being viewed by me, and we live in a very sparsely populated area, it warped out. It basically kind of sped up and just went black. And it did it without any sound. It was the quietest I've ever heard any of these. I've heard B-2 bombers right over my head with, you can hear them. You can hear the chemical exhaust. This had none of the typical static sounds that you hear.
So I guess you're the type of guy that does not bring his telephone, his phone to the bathroom.
No. And that was a mistake on my part. But it happened so quickly. I literally think that I have security lights. I have different, solar security lights that cue off movement, and mine went off. And so I don't know if the flash of the light or my observation cued it to just zip out. But it definitely zipped out of this reality very quickly once I believe it knew or sensed that anything was observing it.
That's an interesting call. I thank you both for calling. And if you have anything else you want to add to that, please. We're gonna follow up on this sometime this week. I thought I'd be able to do it in the second half tonight, but the topic in the first half is just too rich. But that's big. Yeah. And if you see any more, don't go out to that outhouse ever again without your phone, please.
Okay. I'll make that agreement with you right now, Frank. And
I would love. I don't do a lot of exclusives on this show. I like talking to people who have broken stories. I don't ever have rarely any I actually think we were one of the first people to get to Event 201, to be honest. But if I could get a authentic video from you of these triangles, man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if I can get anything, I will. We definitely have had other sightings by other residents in this area, and we've had some group sightings. I would call mass sighting, which would be like 5 or 6 people here.
Perfect.
But we've had some group sightings as well.
All right.
And Frank, we had to drive 13 miles just to call you because we don't have comms up on that top of that mountain either. But we had to tell you the story.
Well, we had to tell you. So what do you guys do? I guess, what do you do up there if you do need to communicate with anybody? You have a landline? Are you getting in? Do you have any radio equipment up there? Shortwave? What do you got?
You have shortwave, and we do have a kind of a walkie-talkie network of people.
Okay.
We don't have like a mesh-tastic or anything yet. Most people have some sort of Fios or fiber or Starlink. But what's interesting about this sighting was that just about a week before all this, there was a mass blackout up here, which isn't really that big of a deal because we had an ice storm and snowstorm. But what was interesting to us was, and we're not on the grid, we actually have all solar. So we were watching these guys. Nobody could figure out why the power was out. So now there was a lot of different trees that fell down. So it could have been something like that, but it was out for 3 days, which is really non-typical for most times they get it back on within a day or two. And I don't know if this is directly connected or not. It just seems like something different is happening here where there's been other sightings too.
Okay, well, you know what? Just on that end, stay in touch with me. I want to hear more about it. Thank you both for calling in, but I just got a message from Tracy. Thank you for the call. She's been sending this to me in real time. Location: New Jersey, USA. We finally have a video of the UAP at UFO drones, and we can now confirm that they are indeed orbs. What? Hold on a second. Let me get this up over here. That they are indeed orbs. Someone got the UFO image with his telescope, and we can also confirm that the orbs are surrounded by a field, the same kind of field that Bob Lazar describes almost 30 plus years ago. The field around the UAP drone looks like it's bouncing off light, and that's why we can't see its true shape, but most likely it's a metallic orb that Patrick Q. Jackson proved a few years ago now. The footage was from the 8th of December, but I don't have the original poster. We need more footage like this. This definitely confirms that orbs are at play here.
It has a round, shield around it.
What is that? That's
fucking nuts. Well, right, that's zoomed in, 100, 208. And I'll show you the drone right now. Up in the sky. All the way over there.
The fuck out of here, man. So that's zoomed in.
Anytime.
What do you think that can be?
My camera
Any photographers out there can tell. So he zoomed in on the camera on the orb in the sky, or on the light in the sky.
Shield around it.
He's describing it as a shield. There's definitely a center, like a nucleus.
Fucking nuts. Well, right, that's zoomed in, 100, 208. And I'll show you the drone right now.
And now he goes out just with the phone. I mean, so strange, man. It's so strange. Someone says calling that field a field stretches credibility. As an owner of an 8-inch SCT, I'd say that looks more like a typical out-of-focus point of light source. You know, almost like when you look at a Christmas tree that's all lit up and you kind of squint and you can see through your eyelashes that all of the individual points of light on the tree become like a glowy kind of a bubble. They look like dandelions. Nothing more. Maybe there's documented anomalous events going on, but I expect that this is not one of them. When I was 13, I once filmed Venus being a pulsating orb for like an hour on my DV camera, only later to realize it was just out of focus and the camera was trying to get in focus, creating an illusion. What is filmed here is a light source that is out of focus. So there's all, I mean, with what's going on, see, you could say that people are going to swing and miss now because there's so much stuff going on, but you have the FBI saying they have no answers. FBI, no answers to mystery drones swarming skies with 500,000 Americans terrified. As the waves of drone incursions over U.S. cities' military facilities intensifies, FBI admits it has no clues as to who is operating the mystery craft. It just makes no sense. Mystery New Jersey drones go dark when spotted, says the governor. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said the recent drones, which have been sighted in the state, are very sophisticated, he said. The minute you get your eyes on them, they go dark. Okay, now that right there is huge. When you go into the UAP hearings, I know we're getting off track now. It's becoming a second topic show, whatever. When you go to the UAP hearings that we just heard, and it's not the first time we've heard it, that there is some sort of a psycho-emotional link between the observer and the observed. Insane stuff. Really insane. Hey, here's Mike the Quaker. I haven't heard from this guy in a long time. How you doing, Mike?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So how are you seeing the world right now?
Well, you asked me to comment about Baba Vanga in Syria.
Oh yeah, that's definitely part of it. Is your Baba Vanga red alert going off yet because of what's going on now in that region?
Yes, you know, Baba Vanga was from Bulgaria. Years ago, I met in Palm Beach a diplomat from Bulgaria before communism fell, and he told me about Baba Vanga. So 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I heard about her. That was long ago. She's very well known in Eastern Europe. During her lifetime, the presidents of the neighboring countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, all used to go to her constantly for advice because there were many treacherous coups and assassination attempts against these various leaders. And she would guide them to safety through her psychic ability. So her predictions are very old. And her prediction about this war in Syria goes way back to then. So from a couple of books, I gathered these two quotes. When Syria falls, a great war between the East and West will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to the Third World War, which will destroy the West. Now, she said this again before communism fell. She then also said, before communism fell, that a great leader would arise in Russia named Vladimir, and that he would save Western civilization, and he would save Christianity.
Now, Mike, where did you get all that? Because I have looked all over the place for her mentioning of Vladimir Putin, whatever it is, and of course, when the tabloids mention her, it's really just to have something sensational out there, and it's all over the place. But I've never really been able to look at any authentic collections of her.
Well, I got this material years ago. I was also close friends with a member of Russian Parliament who died back around 2008. So between the years of 2000 and 2008, I heard all of this stuff from a Russian member of Parliament who was a personal friend of mine.
And she was she was Orthodox Christian?
Oh, yes. She was very devout Bulgarian Orthodox Church. Yes.
Okay.
She did not speak Russian. She spoke Bulgarian, which apparently that language is somewhat close to Russian, but they're culturally very close, the two countries. So that I'm just saying, I heard this stuff long ago, and I copied some of the notes into my database. Could never forget it, because the part about Vladimir is stunning, because when she made that prediction about him, he didn't exist yet he was not on the political scene. So the point is that she credited him as being a great man who would save Western culture. She regarding Syria, so when this war happens in Syria, of course that matches predictions from the Orthodox Jews, from Christian sources also about the destruction of Damascus, which will then herald the Third World War. Now, Damascus hasn't been destroyed yet, but the war in Syria is certainly there right now. And I think the point is that a lot of predictions from various people that go way back, I don't mean current ones, all match. Baba Vanga's teaching about all of that was that there would be a nuclear war in Europe, that it would be, I don't know if she used the word nuclear, but she said Germany would really be destroyed. And that after Europe was destroyed from this war, which starts in the Ukraine, she named the Ukraine, she named Germany, she named Poland as being the main figures in that war. Then there'd be a short resting period, and then the Russians would attack the United States. Now you see, this gets twisted.
So when you say West,
the West means the United States,
right? Okay.
And the thing is that the current leadership in Russia is staunchly Christian, contrary to anything you'll hear in this country. They are Orthodox, and they believe that the cabal, the deep state, is Satanism. So therefore, they're not attacking American people. They're trying to they're dedicated to destroy Satanism, which is, we know, the deep state, which is the same thing that I think Trump and his inner circle also believe. I believe that. I know several people, and you probably do too, who know people in the inner circle of Trump. And I've heard back from them, from actual people who have been in private meetings down there in Mar-a-Lago, that this is the bottom line consensus of people. In fact, Glenn Beck was on the air a few days ago saying the same thing, that he had a 30-minute meeting with Trump, private, and he more or less said the same thing in a 20-minute interview that I heard on the internet. He's not a friend of mine, of course.
So then, is Trump's warmth toward the interests of, say, Israel and other places really just born into that generational they're our most precious ally kind of a thing? Because
that's a really good question that lots of people ask, and I think that let's go to Baba Vanga. She said Israel. She basically predicted that it wouldn't exist anymore. it's going to be gone. See, it's a very different twist on things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think regarding Donald Trump, whatever he says is not necessarily what he's going to do. And I just don't know. I think I look at him as a man who acts on the moment strategically. So as the situation changes, his plan will change. You know what I'm saying? So according to circumstances. But of course, the war there was not started by him. It was started by the deep state. They've been working on this project for many, many years. It's called the Project of the New American Century, that was set up by, Robert Kagan, Victoria Nuland's husband, and George Bush.
Bill Kristol.
Yes, that group of people set up the Project for the New American Century, which actually included the Greater Israel Project, to create, to absorb all the surrounding states of Israel and attach them as subsidiaries to Israel itself. So that's what this war is about. And this is that's the long-term strategic plan that's in writing in the State Department. So this is the culmination of all these years and years and a great deal of money being spent to make this happen. So as far as, Donald's coming in at the last minute, and of course, as your guest last night said, Mrs. McCutcheon, is he going to focus on stopping the Satanism here, or communism, which is the same thing as Satanism? Communism is Satanism because it's anti-Christian. It's against the Catholic Church, and it's dedicated to destroying Christianity. So it's atheist. So what Mrs. McCutcheon said, or Miss McCutcheon last night, was spot on. I was very impressed by what she said.
So then, as a little finisher for this micro segment that we did together, you got to call in more often. I think the last time you called in was like 5 years ago.
I'm sorry.
You got to call in more often for sure. But to try to wrap this into things that we were already talking about tonight, do you find that there's any ulterior motive or anything that you suspect could be tied to this particular assassination of this health insurance CEO? Because aside from all of the conversation pieces about how much everybody hates their coverage and how how expensive it is and how often we are denied coverage and all that stuff, there's a greater question about, is there going to be a major shakeup? Is this an operation in itself? Do you find anything out of place here that you think plugs into the greater picture?
Well, I about 2 days ago, I saw an article. I think it was in Zero Hedge, but it might have been somewhere else, that said that there was that the man who was killed and one of his associates, but shortly before this happened, or shortly before something happened not too long ago, cashed out a great deal of cash equity they had in some companies they had been trying to take over. In other words, he was a corporate raider. He was one of your Kohlberg Kravitz types, asset stripper. That's what he was about. He was a very ruthless corporate tycoon who smashed companies to pieces, and I think he had done that with another corporation. He had smashed it up. I can't remember the name of it. I'll look it up. I'll find it and send it to you tomorrow. But I think he did that just recently. I think that's why it happened. I think he stole a lot of money from people, steal it by using his power to bust up a company and profit from the destruction of the company, which would have ruined the finances of a lot of people.
So so you think that this might be the gripes of someone on the lower level? This is not about a correction.
No, well, I think it was another corporate CEO who had him hit.
Okay.
That's just my feeling as a former banker myself from New York, which is where I was a banker in New York. So that's just my feeling. But that article basically said that more or less, and it was an article in a reputable source. And I'll look for it and try to send it to you.
Okay.
But I don't have any broader knowledge except that I think that the UHC company, which I'm actually familiar because it took over a number of hospitals living in the neighborhood where I live outside of Philadelphia. it's a very ruthless company, and they sort of slash and burn type of a corporation. It shouldn't be involved with healthcare at all, but it is. They buy hospitals and then they close them, and they do all kinds of things besides just give people health insurance. So I think it's a good example of what RFK Jr. wants to fight.
And that might be why the timing is so interesting. So
yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, Mike, as I said, I hope you just start calling in more often and chiming in, because we've been friends for a long time now, but you don't spend nearly enough time on it.
Several times I tried to call, and I'm not able to call like 20 times in a row. So by all means, let's set up times when you want me to call, and I'll call precisely on the dot.
Okay. Well, but I'm just saying, when you call this number right here, you pop up as Mike the Quaker. So it's going to be very hard for me to miss.
There you go. Thank you.
It's going to be very more hard for me to miss you. So
okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you. But and of course, I've been a deep admirer of yours for all these years. Immensely impressed, and just very happy to see the beautiful thoughts and good vibes and happiness that you spread everywhere in your program. It's really very unique, and everyone really values you for that.
Well,
very refreshing, very relaxing, and it's just always up. You're always putting out such good vibes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, seriously, for the years of friendship, and that goes out to everybody at the in the audience as well, because it really does come back tenfold, and that's what makes me want to keep going. And
I know.
Yeah, I know. It feels good.
You're very unique, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next, because it'll be great.
2025. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Mike.
Great. Okay. Thank you. All right.
There
Bye-bye.
you go. Yeah, Mike is a very interesting character. Very interesting. And I really hope that the new year brings at least a dozen calls. At least a dozen. Let's start with there. 1 call a month, Mike? Just drop in on us. All right, let's go to the Super Chats on quitefrankly.tv. Robert Sarnes, thank you so much. River Pike, thank you, River. River Pike likes the lights. Stacks, thank you. Stow Stew with a whole sleeve of Chips Ahoy cookies. Witchy Poo says Stow Stew. Oh, now they're shouting out each other. Witchy Poo starts shouting out Stow Stew, then gives the cookies. And then Brew Bark says 40 days till go time. Oh, man. Yeah, 40 days till go time. The inauguration. He'll be here in a second. Thank you, River Pike, for more cookies. Witchy Poo as well. C. Blanche with a can. Stephen and Laurie says, perhaps the answers lie in who else might have wanted the CEO offed. Stephen and Laurie says, tonight's after hours lineup rocks. Did you get it yet? Well, if you are subscribed to the Telegram, then you know what's going on after hours first and foremost. Here is what we have coming up tonight. Really graceful. Our good friend Grace, the 2025 bingo card. Tucker Carlson interviewed Roger Ver. Return to tradition. The first mass at Notre Dame Cathedral was wicked. Bob Hope Christmas special 1967 is going to go on after that, and then we have an Art Bell kicker. Art Bell with Jeffrey Scott Holland on the topic of feral humans. These are humans that were raised as animals in the wild. Feral humans. I think we're seeing more and more of them every day. So that all starts on quitefrankly.tv as soon as this broadcast concludes. And you should definitely be a part of the Quite Frankly Telegram. Is there a way I can link everybody in the chat room over that? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do that for you. Because that would be great to get people. Link is copied. Okay. There's the Quite Frankly Telegram. Put it in the chat there. I'll put it in the Rumble chat. There you go. And into the Pilled as well. That's where we put all of the after hour stuff. We drop memes in there. It's run mainly by John Carroll. So there's always really cool insight, but I drop things in there too. It's nice. It's a nice little place. outside of the Gilded, where the Gilded is where the main thrust of the party at off hours really is. And that's all I have for you tonight. So I hope you enjoyed this. Jay Britt says, infuriating topics tonight, Frank. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I'm glad you were infuriated, Jay. Stowe Stoob says, evening, Frank and Frankly's, just dropping by for a listen. Hope all are well on this wonderful holiday season. I'm feeling good, and I can't wait to go home and sit in the living room with the tree up. And that's all that matters. That's it. So 8:55, we took a lot of calls. I'm sure we could have taken a lot more. And let's see how this all works out. Oh, here's one last thing for you because we have 4 minutes left. It's from last night. It's a response from Velez from Rogue News. And Velez said this: hi, Frank. Thanks for having Robin McCutcheon on tonight. Her latter half comments struck a chord with me. Many have commented about U.S. paper currency being based on faith, silver certificates, once redeemable for real U.S. currency, etc. She hit an angle, though, I think, without even realizing it, and it dovetails into Tom Longo as well. Namely, the game, G-A-M-E, the game out there is among powerful elites, and in particular, what I term the apex elites. Tom is also of the opinion that things like Syria indicate some form of deals are being struck. Will they hold in the sense of lessening a global tension? We will see. Robin made a comment about how the BRICS were attempting to go it alone as they needed something more stable than the U.S. Federal Reserve currency system. Ergo, Donald Trump's comments will be interpreted as a nationalism, if not jingoism, by warning major powers not to replace the dollar. Never mind the fact that the Saudis do not even denominate oil in dollars anymore. It's more a function of notifying the BRICS and saying, okay, you made your point, hang on, we've got something in the oven which should work out for everyone, end quote. Be well, Velez. If that's the message being sent in the footing with the BRICS countries, then hey, listen, we'll see. You made your point. Hang on, we got something in the works. That's from Velez, our good buddy over there at Rogue News. Can't wait till he calls in again one day too. All right, tomorrow we're gonna have Jay Dyer on. We're gonna be debunking Mithras. This time of year, everybody shares the Stephen Fry video of him pretty much taking all of the Mithras origin stories and putting it side by side with the birth of Jesus and just showing what he would hope to be a convincing tale, a convincing argument that Christianity is just not even original, let alone believable. So tomorrow I'd like to just debunk Mithras or debunk Mithras with Jay Dyer. We'll have him on for a little bit, get on our merry way, and then maybe we'll get into the UFO thing head on. That would be something. Okay? Thank you guys so much. Email me if you need me. That is Quite Frankly podcast at gmail.com. I would love to welcome more and more of you on as a sponsor. Remember, all throughout December, sign up as a monthly sponsor on Subscribestar, directly through quitefrankly.tv, Patreon, at any level. Doesn't matter what level it is. It could be as little as $5 a month, and get any combination of stickers and Polaroids and first edition, Quite Frankly, wooden coins, as well as a litany of exclusive perks going into the new year. Book club, film club, Sunday streams, you name it. Shower streams. Every Wednesday night, everybody gets together and in a Google Hangout, we just take a shower together. You only see each other from the shoulders up, though, just singing show tunes in the shower. Just from the neck up, it's great. It's for everybody. So thank you for everything. I can't wait for tomorrow night. And you guys are definitely some of my favorite guests. I love when we have good, vibrant call-in shows. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow at 7. Good evening.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now our super chatters, starting with Jay Britz and Stowstube and our wonderful super. Wait a second. Wait. Did I have Rumble? Did I do Rumble rants? Did I? Oh, I got Rumble rants here. Hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. Give me a second. Jay Semo says, excellent show, but very sobering. Good health is precious. It especially is precious when we need so many other things worked out. Hey, would you blow me? Says, United is a big Medicaid, Medicare provider. About 6 months ago, I asked about stop smoking patches or other meds and got denied. I bet they'd happily give chemo. They'd happily chemo the shit out of me if I got a tumor, though. I know. Especially if the patches could help you prevent a tumor. That might be part of it. Yaya says, Frank, I heard that Pelosi has some history with the shooter's family and her mob roots on the East Coast. You see, we're going to get a lot of stuff like that. Katie Sky says, hi, Frank. I see it as no difference than if a cartel member, drug lord, or Anthony Fauci were killed in the same way. It's wrong, and I feel for his family. But if you play the game, you may get got. The question is, what's the game? Which game was he playing? Because, is it just that healthcare is so bad and people are disillusioned out there and this one kid just popped off and went after him? Or is it a shadow game that there is a hit, that this is organized crime in itself, that presents a very big corporate front, but in the back rooms, it's, yeah. Let's see. Katie again says, also, he didn't just work for United. He was the CEO. He made those decisions to deny coverage and pass them down to be carried out. He's no better than Fauci, but killing him was not the correct choice. And that's why I'm saying, though most of the people who say this is messed up, to hell with him because look at all this other stuff and we need to fix healthcare, they would take us into the direction where someone like Anthony Fauci would be the new CEO for the entire country. That's what we would be dealing with. That's just that was my main point about that. So we can all agree that something really stinks and really sucks, but what direction are we heading in? Christmas holiday greetings to all in the family. Thank you, NX17. Thank you, Homegoy. Says, great show and callers. And that's all we have for you tonight. Now, let's end the show for real. It's 9:03. I'll see you on quitefrankly.tv. Just get in the chat, talk to people. I'll be stopping by and all that stuff. I don't have a episode of Yellowstone to watch tonight. That's almost over. I'll tell you all about it soon. All right.
I'll catch you on the flip side.